Meeting to order at 10:01. The first item on the agenda is approval of minutes of the previous meetings on October 8th and October 16th. Unfortunately, we were only able to complete the meetings for October 8th, meeting minutes for October 8th. So that's what you should have before you. We'll have to put the October 16th meeting minutes on the next agenda. So if you'll review the October 8th meeting minutes, let us know if there's need for any revisions or if I get a motion to approve. I think so. I can look at the... I don't have them printed.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as listed.
Thank you for the motion. Give me just 1 second.
Second.
There's 2 members of city team and 3 members of Sage Dogs. 1, 2.
Hey guys, I just want to clarify, we have a quorum. Is Jeff considered a member of y'all's team for purposes of? Yeah, okay. That's the only thing I was worried about.
Okay. Thank you. It's not, the ground rules aren't clear as to who's considered a member of the SAPOC team, so we just want to make sure. Okay, so I had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes for approval of the October 8th meeting minutes. Next agenda item is continuation of discussion and possible action on items to be considered for the 2026 Meet and Confer agreement. So Brandon sent over a draft of the entire agreement to include every item that we've discussed. We did get some comments from Kennedy, and we'd like to ask for a pretty early caucus to discuss those items and still one of the pending items. But before we do that, are there any other comments on this agreement that we need to take into consideration? I believe that was sent out to Noel, Kennedy, and Jeff, maybe.
Nothing that changes the language, just a couple of housekeeping things. I would propose that we combine some articles, move some things around just for clarity, reading purposes. And then also, if Brandon would be willing to work with our legal to draft a document for disciplinary appeals, and then also to where we have a document for grievance, an actual form that can be attached to the contract that would be a form designated for disciplinary appeals and a form designated for grievances. That way there's some continuity there.
Are you talking about like the final order that when discipline's rendered, or?
Basically just the form that the association would submit in the case of a grievance, or a form that the officer would submit in the case of a disciplinary appeal.
Okay.
Basically just like a notification of grievance or notification of appeal. And we
Yeah.
could get you a sample of what we've used
Yeah, that'd be
other
helpful,
cities.
if you will.
Yeah, no problem.
And do you have, I guess, do you know which sections or articles you want to combine?
Yeah, we can go over that. I mean, it's pretty brief. Article 3, hiring, Article 7, probation, and Article 7, part-time officers, all grouped together under one article, because it's all dealing with hiring. And then Article 4, assessment center, and then Article 11, promotion to deputy chief, be combined into one article because they're both dealing with promotions. And then Article 9, admin investigations and right of officers, would be moved to where it comes before Article 6, discipline. I can also email that to Brandon for ease of note-taking there.
If you don't mind, I took notes, but just to make sure I got that correctly. Okay.
We had one other thing. I think the sick time buyback we've figured out pretty thoroughly, but it was brought up, and something I hadn't thought of, that PSC, when they move from PSC to, say they get hired as an officer, and they've spent 4 years as a dispatcher, all their time transfers over. And then if they only spent 4 years as an officer, they wouldn't be allowed to sell back any of the time, even though they would have if they had just quit dispatch. You see what I'm saying?
I think. I think the wording that's in here is to allow only civil service officer time.
Mm-hmm.
Does that cover what you're saying, or no?
Well, they would have accrued that time, but they would have accrued that time as a dispatcher, but wouldn't be able to sell it as a dispatcher
So when they
when they move over.
when they transfer from dispatcher to officer, they transfer that time with them.
From my understanding.
So you're saying that that time should not be eligible to sell?
More so that,
We don't want to punish a dispatcher that spent 4 years as a loyal city employee to then go become an officer. And I understand they might leave after 4 more years, but now it's 8 years as a loyal city employee, and now they can't sell back any of their time. Versus if they would have stayed a regular city employee, they would have been able to sell it back.
So you're proposing that the time and service count? But
I'm more just raising a concern about
I think
the
the
situation, not necessarily making a proposal about it.
okay.
fundamental issue is moving out of a non-negotiated or non-covered position into a covered position. And do you have a sense for the likelihood that whatever we ended up last time would become a citywide policy rather than a contracted item?
It is a proposal that I'd like to make citywide when I don't have an indication. But let us discuss that when we caucus, and we can come back out and let you know what we think. Okay, anything else? All right, if I could ask for a caucus then, that'd be great. We will caucus at 10:13. Thank you. Okay, so we will call the meeting back to order at 2:33. Thank you for allowing us that lengthy caucus. So we're still on agenda item 3. And I think all of the things that we discussed and the items obviously that were noted as far as a comment will be addressed if we go through the agreement. I think we're gonna have to go through the agreement anyway, just to talk about every one of the sections to make sure we're all on the same page. So unless you're opposed to that, we can just do it that way if you'd like. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, so starting on page 1, table of contents really will be updated as these articles and sections are updated. Page 3, Article 1, definitions. The agreement effective date, I want to point out, would be October 1. That aligns with the budget ordinance. And it runs through September 30th, sorry. I think there's a provision in here, and I'm sure Brandon will point it out, that indicates that this agreement will supersede the current agreement since that doesn't end set to end until December. I think that's it on page 3. Page 4. Nothing in Article 2. Article 3, hiring process. Brandon's comment indicates that all the red lines in this section 2 simply reflect the open hiring language that was already adopted. So unless there's any questions or comments.
No, we're just adding that in the main agreement, because last time we did an amendment that showed that.
Okay. So that article runs through page 9, is that correct? And then we go into assessment center. There are no changes there. So the next article is compensation. Compensation, section 2A. We updated the dates there. We struck the language that the plan shall be funded in part by freezing the 6 vacant officer positions. I mean, I think that's the case now, and it'll carry forward until those are funded. Any questions on that one?
No questions.
Okay, B, in addition to the compensation set out in Appendix 1, each member of the SAPD covered by this agreement shall be entitled to a one-time signing stipend in the amount equal to, that amount is $71,136. That's that 5% with taxes and benefits for 2 pay periods. Yes, sir. Okay. This would mean that, and the reason that it's 2 pay periods is because we need to allow payroll to process all of that. So this would mean that they would see this on their November 26th paycheck. Normally would be November 28th. I think the 27th and 28th is a holiday, so we get paid the 26th.
And what was that figure again? 71 what?
$71,136.
Thank you.
That's inclusive of taxes and benefits divided by the number of officers covered by this agreement and employed by SAPD on October 1st, 2025. And just to give an idea of how much that would be per officer, I believe if you used the number of officers currently by that number, do you have that number, Jonathan? That would run $302.90
For benefits.
before benefits.
How many ways was that divided?
I'm sorry, what was that? 172? 171.
Did that include or exclude the chief and the assistant chiefs?
Excluded them.
171. That's too many people, pretty.
That's what she just said. So what benefits are taken out? And the 3 years after?
So the 171, though, what,
That's the count as of today, is that correct, Jonathan?
That is a count that I have, that count could be wrong. It doesn't.
That doesn't really matter. It'll be the number of officers on the day that the contract.
so if that sounds high, then,
It does sound high, but also the question being, do we want to put it as of October 1, 2025, or as of the signing date of the contract? As,
Specifying the date.
Yeah,
it's specified in here as of October 1, but that means you're going to be trying to track down people who have left between October 1 and November 26th.
I think we had discussed the date of the contract anyway, so I think that does make more sense. Unless anyone disagrees.
Making the whole terms of the contract?
No, just the date that's specified in this language of who would receive the stipend.
so the end of this sentence would, well, I guess it would say inclusive of taxes and benefits divided by the number of officers covered by this agreement and employed by SAPD on,
Date of full execution of the agreement?
Seems fine to me.
date of full execution of the agreement.
And I just want to clarify one more time that 71,136 is inclusive of benefits, and the number that Jonathan stated, the $302, would be the after benefit amount that the officer would receive,
Okay.
or thereabouts, depending on number of officers at that point in time.
Right.
Okay. So moving on, no changes to C, D, no comments there. Okay, so that takes us to E, A, B, C, D, E, where we put a placeholder for vacation on hours worked. And we are in agreement to allow vacation hours to count as hours worked. I mean, I think that's really it. It was just the wording that you were going to discuss.
So I was suggesting the wording out of 142.015 that applies to firefighters, saying computing the hours in a work week or the average number of hours in a work week during a work cycle of a police officer who provides law enforcement services. Vacation time may or shall be included as hours worked.
We had initially discussed for this provision, changing the way we pay time and a half at premium rate. I believe that was a discussion at the last meeting. We're going to forego that and leave it as is.
Which subsection of 142.0015 was it?
It's D and the last sentence of that subsection.
The one that says, in computing the work week, the average number of hours in a work week during a work cycle of a firefighter or member of fire department, vacations, sick time, holidays, time in lieu of holidays, or comp time may be excluded as hours worked?
Yeah, but I was just changing the phrasing to be shall be included as hours
I gotcha.
worked. And I think it's just vacation time,
But
right?
just vacation, yes.
Give me just 1 second. I may have one that you may want to look at that.
My table's squeaking, I think.
I know, I thought it was mine, is it yours?
I think. Even if I don't put any pressure on it, it squeaks.
I'll keep looking, but we can
Yeah. and
keep going.
I'm open to language. That's the best
I'd
I've
seen
found.
one somewhere that applied to larger places that kind of already had it spelled out, where it may be easier to just copy and paste from there instead of the exclusive, inclusive thing.
Okay.
Okay. Next article is discipline. I don't believe there were any comments. Let me see. Section 7.
Oh, you know what? I think I already removed it. I mean, I'm fine either way, I think we needed to put the actual article reference or deleting that last sentence. Because you're right, we're already going to be giving the council the records in an appeal, so.
Yeah, I think that whole sentence can just be taken out since we made the addition that, what is it, 5 days, I think, prior to the hearing.
Yeah.
You get the whole file.
Okay. Moving on to probationary period. The change here was that TCOL certified applicants who are hired as police officers by SAPD will serve a probationary period of 12 months from the date of swearing in as the police officer by the SAPD. So it just matches the police recruits.
I think that was always intended on our end, and just, we didn't update it
Never
last year
spelled
when
out,
we
yeah.
changed it.
Okay. Part-time police officers. It's going to be section 2. No, I'm sorry, section 3A. Part-time officers employed by the SAPD, including those assigned as school resource officers, will receive a rate of pay commensurate with their TCOL proficiency certification. That's what was added. There was a comment for B. I think we wanted this changed as this is in conflict with C. So we did want to continue to include that and restrict it to the 999 hours. As far as C is concerned, the restriction would apply to part-time officers in the SRO assignment as well. Officers assigned as SROs may work an average of no more than 32 hours per week. Because the intent is for those officers or that assignment to be only during the school year, that last part of the sentence can be taken out over the course of a calendar year. So the sentence would end at per week.
Okay, I guess my concern is that they're still part-time officers, and so they're still gonna be capped at $9.99, which is less than 32 hours per week for a school year.
It's my understanding that an average of 32 hours per week for the school year would not put them over the $9.99. Is that not the case? Now, this doesn't mean that they're working 32 hours a week every week.
Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. So the school district, or at least the state minimum for instructional days per year is 200, which if they're working 8-hour days is 1,600 hours for the full. And then if you multiply that by 80% as an average, it'd be 1,280. So, I mean, for us, on our end, we don't mind either way. We just want to make it specific that make it, our opinion is that if, with both of them still in there, the $9.99 is going to come first before the 32 hours per week over the course of a year.
Okay, just to make sure that we're not misspeaking on that, I probably. Oh, sorry, my mic was off. Okay, moving on to Section 3, we did change the probationary period from the employment date to swearing-in date. Will serve a probationary period of 12 months from the date of swearing in as a police officer. Do we intend to do that?
Where are you right now?
Past that, yeah.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, I flipped the wrong way.
Oh, I was like, what?
1819, page 20. Administrative investigations and rights of officers. I don't think, let me see, first comment is on page 21. That's just to modify the heading.
I think they've seen all these.
And then the second comment in there is exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, so you are good with that?
Yeah.
And that's for section 3A?
Yep.
Okay. So section 3D, added to cover the officer statement, which is 3B.
Yeah, so one is the complaint that they will get, and then the other is the officer's actual statement, so.
Y'all good with that? Okay. This takes us to page 25, promotion to deputy chief. Your comment was if this is an appropriate place to add the number of sergeants, lieutenants required to maintain by the department, or would that go elsewhere?
That was where we asked to not have any more positions that are tested positions cannibalized.
Remind me what we discussed on this one.
Well, it's in the budget ordinance already, but they want to make sure that it can't ever go any lower than that. Through this agreement.
I don't think it would go any lower than that through this agreement though, right?
I mean, it would only ever be 2 deputy chiefs out of the rank of lieutenant. But are we saying that, like, if one of those 7 lieutenants retired or whatever, and then council didn't approve that position, so then there were only 6, we're going to tie council to always keeping 7, even though it's not like an extra deputy chief that's taking that position?
It's more so, I think we've had 2 now that we reduced the number of sergeants to add lieutenants. And so that frees up 1 less position at a officer level to be able to test for promotion. frankly, even if it was just the number of sergeants. Because obviously lieutenants can't be cannibalized unless you're making that council could choose not to fund them or something like that, but,
I think that's the problem that I would have with putting that in the agreement, that regardless, council can make that decision in the budget ordinance, right?
Well, I think that's a question for Brandon,
Well,
which,
I think this agreement, it supersedes ordinance and all
Yeah.
that. So, I think we'd be agreeing to that if we put that in here.
you'd be tying council to that
To this agreement,
Yeah.
that number of this agreement.
account.
Well, what do we want to do about that?
Oh, I'm just trying to think of a scenario where that would happen.
Well, it wouldn't be through B, because if those two deputy chiefs go away, then they just go back to the rank of lieutenant, which I do understand your comment, and we can adjust B to end at shall return to the rank of lieutenant and strike the last part of that sentence. But aside from that,
And I guess to add on B, I agree with your comment. I'm just wondering, I want to make it clear that no one thinks that if this wasn't in here, that them going back to lieutenant or whatever would be a demotion, or they would have any right to, that rank. I think that just clarifies that, but.
yeah, I don't think my thought process wasn't that you were necessarily trying to reduce it if the positions went away. The other, instead on the last portion, as far as, and the last officers promoted, removing that, but maybe also listing that because I had this question come up, that the time spent as a deputy chief counts towards time as a lieutenant for the purposes of any tested positions that would come up. Because we wouldn't want to necessarily, if for some reason the chief convinced council to give him a third deputy chief, but it wasn't through the agreement, it would be a tested position. And we wouldn't, if one of the deputy chiefs was like, well, shoot, I want to make mine, I want to be in the tested one instead, but they hadn't been at the prior rank of lieutenant for long enough to test, we don't want to say, oh, well, sorry, you were a deputy chief, so that time doesn't count. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't want to exclude anyone because they were temporarily appointed higher.
Yeah, so saying, but their time as a deputy should count as a lieutenant too, right? Like it wouldn't be two separate.
I don't know. I know that there is legal precedent. I don't know what it specifically says. I remember reading it when I was going through different things. And I remember, I think it was a fire department where they had a tested and a non-tested position. And someone was demoted back because of, I think, reinstatement or something like that. And they ended up wanting to test, and someone else fought to not let them test because, well, that guy was an assistant chief. He wasn't a battalion chief or whatever for whatever they required. And I don't want that to come up as an issue if we have one.
I mean, I wouldn't either, but I don't know that, yeah.
Let's research that then. Assistant chief that we got through Confer.
So I think we've got some old language about how to,
This
but I
is
don't
that old
recall that-
language, yeah. I can find it again, but I don't think it addresses.
Yeah, I don't think it
it
addressed
talks about
that.
those years of service and what they would be, but I don't think that's
Yeah. I think
a big ask.
when we caucus, we can take a look at it. So when we caucus, we'll take a look at some of that language and bring it back. Okay, moving on then to miscellaneous. Updated the dates. We're good with your comment about presenting recommendation in writing and or verbal to the hiring committee. And Brandon, you're going to add that language. Okay, so that takes us to Appendix 1. That pay schedule will be updated with that 5%.
And also with the deputy chief's salaries.
We had previously discussed the on-call, I'm sorry, that takes us to the language under the add pays, under the additional pays. In a subcommittee, we had already come up with the language for the definition of the on-call response. So on-call response is to be used when an employee is called out to work on their scheduled time off and does not apply to time extended on a shift, with the exception of response to event requests from other agencies, departments, or divisions when response is necessary to ensure public safety and no alternative options are available, with the approval of the chief of police or his designee. On-call response will be paid 150% at the premium rate and will be eligible for FLSA overtime. And as discussed in the subcommittee, all other codes then would be at the 100%, but still eligible for the FLSA overtime.
There was a few codes that we said still needed to be at the 150, and that was the traffic safety program, the DWI STEP, and then the ones that are reimbursed, like SAISD, overtime, that sort of thing. Those were the only ones, though, that.
And the reimbursed. Did Jonathan leave? I guess I want to make sure that that's his understanding as well.
Okay.
So we're on the same page.
Can probably do that during caucus, too.
Yep, we can do that during caucus. Under drone pay, I'm sorry, I didn't finish reading that section. So it ends with, this overtime will be capped at the budgeted amount. Once this value is exceeded, on-call response overtime will convert to call-out pay. Any expense that exceeds the budgeted amount will need to be funded through the police operating budget. For the drone pay is limited to the designated drone team responsible for responding. You added in person to the incidents in the field, and I believe you were good with that, right? Okay. So Appendix 2. Sick leave payout. So I guess we'll address the two comments. You had a comment this morning about somebody that potentially works in another department or PSC, I think was the example utilized. And that time, I guess, potentially not being paid out. So through our discussion, we believe that this payout process is in place to help with recruitment and retention. So we're not going to recommend that anything additional be added. It would just be that employee needs to be cognizant of what they've got and what they're carrying over. They can still carry over those hours. It's just the eligibility of when that's paid out. So we're not recommending any additional changes to that. What we would want to add to that first paragraph to address the comment that is in there in terms of probationary period, to the end of that sentence, no, not the end of the sentence.
Total years of service.
Total years of service as a police recruit, a lateral transfer, or a commissioned officer employee at the time of separation. So not necessarily use civil service so that we're capturing everybody
Yeah, I think that's appropriate.
that's in those groups. And I think that's it. So we'll ask for another caucus if there's not any additional information, just to clarify a few things, and then we'll be back.
We're good for a caucus.
Okay, we're caucus at 3:10. Thank you. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I guess before we move forward, just a quick question in terms of time. We're prepared to stick around so that when we come to whatever agreement, Brandon has an opportunity today to make those adjustments, those revisions, provide it here so we all have a final to agree upon. Then y'all can take it to your membership to vote.
Okay, I think we're good for now to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, final other than maybe like formatting
Okay.
stuff, so.
And I guess the reason I ask that is because we're still trying to make that Tuesday council meeting the November 4th date.
Okay.
And we want to give y'all enough time to take it to vote. How long does that usually take y'all?
Usually it's 24 hours, but since we do it digitally now, we can have it done. We can have it done pretty quick.
Okay.
We could have it done probably by Friday, I would think. We'd be early, yeah, we'd probably have it done more likely by Thursday.
Okay, then we'll push forward with that plan. Yes. Okay. So, one of the things that we discovered when we were talking about part-time officers, we discussed this in one of the meetings and then never followed through. Page 18 talked about 12, a maximum of 12 part-time officers. And I guess y'all had some comments about whether or not that number needed to or not needed to be in there. We would like to take that number out, and we never did.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that fine? Okay.
I think we had discussed that already and
Yeah,
yeah.
we just didn't take it out of there. So the following page, page 19, in talking about the SROs, there is a federal provision that requires us to keep a part-time employee at no more than 1,000 hours. In addition to that, we use the 999 as a guide for part-time hours. So that does, I guess, limit or restrict the number of hours per week that the chief might be able to utilize an SRO. But that's something that we need to work out internally with him. I guess all that to say that we have to keep that minimum in there, that restriction in there in terms of hours. So we're proposing for section 3A that it read, part-time officers employed by SAPD will receive a rate of pay commensurate with their TCOL proficiency certification. They will not receive any additional compensation such as longevity and education incentive pay. They will not be eligible for pay step increases nor be eligible for promotions. Keep B in there as it reads and completely strike C.
That would be fine. If it's a federal law, I'm not sure that it even needs to be in there as B.
Well,
I mean, I don't have an issue with it staying in there, but.
okay. Yeah, we prefer to keep it in there. Moving on to promotion to deputy chief, page 25. We don't want to include numbers in here. We would rather defer to the budget ordinance for that. Again, I think the goal here is that there aren't going to be reductions in those ranks, particularly when you're trying to ramp up in terms of employment. But we prefer to use the budget amendment, the budget ordinance as the governing document for those ranks.
I guess the only reason that we were interested in the language with the numbers is that we don't want to find ourselves in a position where we have to gut positions to fund other special interest projects. So I guess if you're telling us that the number of positions are protected as is via city ordinance, I think we'd be okay with that. It's just, the only reason we wanted that is that we've got extra funding because we're not going to fill these spots. So that was the reason behind that.
Yeah. I mean, nobody, I think, over here can guarantee that council won't make any changes, I guess, but that's not the intent. We use that document to govern how many of each of those positions we can hire, and we don't anticipate any changes in it.
And the other thing is that in order to change that budget ordinance, that would require 2 readings at city council. And so everybody would be well aware that that would be on the agenda. There would be opportunities for discussions with, interested parties and that kind of thing, so.
I think we're okay.
Okay.
So on the issue that was brought up about the time and service of a deputy chief, I think I found that case law you're talking about, and I think, if I remember, I think it may be the opposite of what you're saying. It says that the time as, and in this case, it was assistant chief, so if we need to specify a deputy chief, I guess we can do that, but it was saying that time is not lost for seniority purposes, and it's the rank below, or the rank where they were before they filled that position, so.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I knew I had read something about it in one of the case laws, but I wasn't sure which way they went with it, and just wanted to make sure that, because it was brought up to me, because that may make somebody kind of weary of taking that appointment if they haven't gotten to 2 years or whatever the normal is, so.
And I mean, that applied to assistant chiefs, but I have to believe
I
that
would
would
think
be
that
the
it would
case for
apply,
deputy chief
yeah.
too.
Yeah, so I think on that end, there would be a case to refer to allow that to count.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And then the last item was in regards to the codes. You mentioned traffic safety program and any codes that we get reimbursed for. In order for us to concede to vacation counting as regular hours worked, we would request that all the codes be set at 100% and still be eligible for FLSA overtime, with the exception of the the on-call response code. Those codes would the employee would still be paid at the time and a half, 150%, assuming they don't call in sick, since vacation now counts towards those hours worked. Is that correct?
How would you keep track of that for reimbursement? Because your FLSA, some of it would then be reimbursable and some of it wouldn't be that's gonna cause an accounting nightmare, I would think. And you would have to go through and determine, okay, well, this reimbursable hour was at straight time and this reimbursable hour was at time and a half.
I believe those rates are negotiated in the contract, and so they're per hour worked, and so those rates are built in at an hour and at time and a half. So regardless of the halftime calculating in the system, the contract's set up for us to be reimbursed that time and a half. And then at the end of the year, there is a provision that if we did exceed the cost of service, for us to reimburse that cost back to the school district. So the contract's set up in such a way where we're always going to recover that cost. It's always just going to be on reconciling at the end of the year.
So the city would be making money off of the officers working overtime?
No, it's built into the contract where we're not able to make money off of the contract.
So when we reconcile at year end, if the school district has overcompensated the city, when we reconcile at year end, we turn around and give that amount back to the school district so that we are never at a point where we're making money off of it.
So you would
It's
be
supposed to be a
having to,
straight reembrsment.
so you would be having to
Net
keep
zero.
track of whether something was FLSA or was not.
But not in like a monthly sense. There wouldn't be a constant clawback provision. There is a clawback provision in the contract because you're correct, we can't generate profit off of the contract, and it's explicitly stated in that school district contract.
So the fire department, when they work the star or the things that are reimbursed to the city, are they paid at 150% or are they paid straight plus FLSA?
For the fire department when they work STAR.
Like when they go to California and are working there, or they get
Like TIFMAS?
TIFMAS and Star, I think it's called Star.
Yes, previously those were set up to pay at 150%, but that is also due to the changes in the One Big Beautiful Bill. That's something that we're also looking at changing, or more than likely needing to change in order to track that additional halftime.
So are they paid at 150% or 100% plus FLSA?
Right now, currently, it's working traditionally how y'all's SRO time would also work, that 150%. But again, that's something that's needing to change. I'm not too sure what the timetable is for that. Probably around the same time we make the change on these codes as well. We'll probably make the change to all of them at once.
We're in the caucus.
Okay. You're welcome to use the second floor conference room. It should still be open. We're going to caucus at 4:50. So we'll call the meeting back to order at 5:22.
Okay, I think we have some stuff that maybe we wanted a little clarification on or something, so.
Okay. We'll do our best. Our two financial people took
Hey.
off. Oh, never mind. Tina knows
You
it all.
take offense, Michael?
So that's going to be, that's a significant change, especially within the culture of the police department as far as historically versus, current. Looking at the accounting nightmare that it is, though, for the new federal tax regulations, I see where y'all are coming from. I guess what we would ask is that if we go to those codes or that rate on those codes, that we would look towards 142.0015 E1 subsection 2, that all hours are counted as hours worked, during which, in this case, it's firefighter or member of the fire department is taking any authorized leave, including attendance, incentive, vacation, holiday, comp time, jury duty, military leave, or leave because of a death in the family. Not sick, but all of the other ones except sick.
142, I know you've given it to me before.
I've actually struck that out because it applies to.
It applies to 1 million or more.
Thank you. Yeah, I found it. I'm good, thank you.
142.0015. Essentially, that everything except sick time would be counted as hours worked.
Okay. I would request a caucus if there aren't any other questions on our side. Okay, we'll take a caucus at 5:25. call the meeting back to order at 6:02. So we verified the leaves that were requested. Attendance incentive leave, we don't have that currently. With the exception of vacation leave that we've agreed to count towards regular hours, and death in the family leave, which we typically allow utilization of emergency leave for. Everything else already counts towards regular hours. We would be fine with adding, like I said, vacation leave, we've already agreed to, the emergency leave to that. But holiday leave, comp time off, jury duty, and military leave already count towards regular hours.
I think we were just, well, I was just using that as kind of a blanket. Basically, everything but sick time was what we were asking for. So that
Okay,
would be like, wow, which I don't know if it is or isn't currently.
it doesn't.
And then the United Way days, and I realize we've already talked about those once,
Okay, yeah, that doesn't either.
which part of it is on the accounting end, did they take sick time or not? If they didn't, then they would get paid the FLSA as opposed to the different date codes for WOW and United Way, which
United
is
Way days.
the only two other types of leave that I can think of besides the, like, jury duty and,
So any additional authorized paid leave aside from sick leave?
yeah. We still don't want to encourage people to utilize sick time as a,
Yeah, I agree. Do we need a caucus again, or? We're good? I think we're agreeable to that.
I'm good with that.
I think that's the last thing
Yeah.
that we had.
Okay, so Brandon's been working hard on updating it all as we've been talking. Well, I guess not for the purposes of their agreement, because assistant chiefs are part of administration, but they are.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
that was
right.
just on the budget ordinance.
Yeah.
But those grades are not updated, are
I
they?
updated them in what I sent y'all.
All right, so for the hours worked, in computing the hours in a work week or the average number of hours in a work week during a work cycle of a police officer, vacation time, holiday leave, compensatory time off, jury duty, military leave, emergency leave, WOW days, United Way days shall be included as hours worked. Okay.
That should be everything.
So I think I've gotten the agreement pretty well squared away. I've got red lines of what we've done today. Do y'all want me to shoot those to you right now and take a look, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Now, I do have some highlights of like section references, formatting. We're still gonna have to clean all that up.
One of the things we didn't discuss when we got back, I think after the first caucus, that y'all brought up were forms for, under the discipline piece.
I think we talked about it and we can do those internally.
I think we can fix that internally, because if we're it to actually get to all for agreements, they have to come through us first, and,
Okay,
you know, we'll make them.
so you'll document that, okay.
Yeah.
It's defined in 143, isn't it? Send a letter, notification, whatever, within 10 days, 10 business days.
Well, I didn't even notice. I was like, oh, yeah, she corrected them.
Is that a department?
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's what they were.
I don't think we need to define this up here too. Including vacation holiday, that way they will make that.
Or 5%. Some of them are, but that last one isn't. Yeah, no.
Once it comes up.
On that document that Brandon just sent over, the appendix includes the deputy chief in that table. We're going to take that out because it has nothing to do with this agreement, but it will be updated in the budget ordinance and the agenda item that goes before council. It will have to be included in that.
I think you sent the wrong thing. The one you just sent is just the disciplinary language.
We're tired.
I think you transposed it.
Correct.
I do have a question as I'm going through this. Article 2, Section 2, officers accepted. It lists the chief of police, the assistants, and airport, city marshal, fire marshals. Do we need to also include deputy chiefs in that? It's a question since they're appointed and outside our bargaining scope. I mean, I think it's up to him to bargain for, whatever raises or things for those positions, and then if something ever happened to the positions, they would revert back to being a lieutenant, and they'd be covered under whatever else.
Do you just want to add assistant chiefs and deputy chiefs to be? Instead of having its own,
Assistant chiefs and deputy chiefs.
Or you could put in any appointed deputy chiefs. And if they aren't filled in an appointment, then.
To them?
Yeah,
No,
when we
you didn't.
came back.
No, you didn't.
And I don't know if we changed it on your draft. The SRO,
You're gonna just strike that?
we were just gonna strike C. I don't know if I talked about that or not. C was the 32-hour average provision.
I'm not sure whether you did or not, but I think that's fine, because,
It's already governed by the 1,000-hour.
yeah.
rule.
Okay. I think I did.
So we need to scratch that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's struck on ours.
I think we're there. We'll see. Did y'all tweak a couple things that you needed to send to us, or did you have to fix anything else?
No, I think that's it, aside from formatting.
Yeah, I think I had some like highlighted article sections that I need to go back and check. And then this table of contents, I had no idea if that's right. And then Jeff, I think we tried to put the sections together like you said, but I think one or two might be messed up, so I need to fix that.
No, it's not a total make or break issue. I just thought for ease of reading.
No, it
and
makes
moving
sense.
forward, that may be beneficial.
So, I mean, I have a TA that just attaches this agreement and says, meet and confer agreement is approved by both parties and substantially the form attached here too, subject to formatting corrections.
Yeah.
So. I'm gonna approve all the red lines I sent y'all and then go print it off and,
And with the and the TA.
yeah.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve. Do I just read the tentative agreement?
Yeah, I mean, I read it earlier, but
So a motion to approve a tentative agreement as follows. The meet and confer agreement is approved by both parties and substantially the form attached hereto subject to formatting corrections. And it's the agreement that we reviewed together.
Motion.
Motion and a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion passes. I think that's it on the agenda.
I'll know
So,
when y'all do the vote, but I'll work on the formatting first thing in the morning and send that over to y'all. So you have the final.
So can you send a copy of the
This
unformatted
one?
copy? Like, just
Yeah,
so
it'll be that.
Is that, basically, we just want our members to start looking over it and getting ready to vote.
Do we want to sign this and I'll go get a copy of the signed
That's fine.
version and all that?
Yeah, that's fine.
and you'll send all that via,
Because I can just scan that, and send it as a scan. That would probably be easier.
because I think that's what they want to send that today before you complete the formatting so that their membership can review it.
Not this plastic, Senator, please. That's a pretty good pen.
Some man in Clyde, they get 400,000 school cup, students there.
I mean, I guess we're not waiting on anything else, so we can adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second? I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Meeting adjourned at 6:44 PM.